Hi, I'm Chrissy. I'm going to be talking about the rest of the things that I thought that I had already talked about, but the microphone died. And that was really disappointing because now I have to talk about them again. Hopefully it'll be better than last time so that it feels worth it. So test sock. It's just turned into a horrible little disaster. Just fold it up, toss it over there. Oh. Got myself. It's okay, the fabric's red. Okay, we're gonna make the stockings now. It's Craftmas Day number 4, my 5-part series where I look at the history of Christmas decorations and create new artistic versions for this year. The 4th decoration that I landed on was the stocking. That was like my favorite thing when I was little, coming downstairs and seeing my stocking full of usually practical things, which I actually really love as presents, like socks and toothbrushes and stuff like that. What I learned about the stocking was that it is, in fact, one of the oldest Christmas traditions and decorations, and that it isn't actually connected to the celebration of Christ's birth, but rather a tribute to a priest. What I found most interesting about the story of the stocking was that it wasn't necessarily a tradition based in receiving gifts and trying to get as many gifts as you possibly could. The origin of the stocking tradition was actually about a time for just giving in general, not to just loved ones, but to the poor, to the less fortunate, to people that are struggling or are in a position where they need help. And I have written here, how can you make the season bright for others, especially for those less fortunate? The idea that I decided to go with for my stocking was to hand print a stocking and to consider that question of how can you make the season bright for others. And something I saw repeatedly over the course of this year was people sharing and encouraging and spreading messages of hope and joy. This was written on sidewalks, it was put on posters in windows, it was in beautiful images on social media, all kinds of different ways of spreading kindness and positivity through language. And I wanted to work from that place with my stocking. So I wrote out as many different quotes that I could find of messages that people had put out into the world. And then I decided that I wanted to contain those messages somehow, and the artwork of Howard Finster came to mind. He's a folk artist that tended to bring sort of like a visual iconography with text together. I just really loved the aesthetic, the bright colors, and just the quality of his work, so I decided to use his style as my inspiration. And so I looked through a bunch of different pictures and I found several that he had done where he had this angel figure, and then inside the angel was a bunch of different written components, and there's several of them and they all say different things. So I decided to create my own version of the Howard Finster angel and then integrate all of the positive messaging into the angel, and then on the back side, just to give a nod to the origin story, I have a collection of illustrated gold coins coming down the back. So unlike our contemporary stockings, which are not stockings that you would actually wear, the original version of the stockings were in fact stockings that you would wear every day. In ancient times, you didn't have a collection of clothes like we have now, where you could just go into your drawer and pull out socks every day for who knows how long. You would have to wash your clothes in the evenings and hang them out to dry. So literally, you would hang your stockings by an open fire in the evening so that you could wear them in the morning. In the 4th century, in the area that we now know to be Turkey, there was a priest named Saint Nicholas, and Saint Nicholas came from a fairly wealthy family, and he had invested his career in giving back to the poor. And this was through a multitude of different ways: kind words, clothing, food, money, support in any way that he felt it was the best suited, he would do that. So the story of the stocking is actually connected to him. The tale goes something like this. I say something because my notes are not perfection. In the 10th century, there was a widower who was in an incredibly bad situation. He was very poor and struggling to keep things going with the household and provide for his daughters. I believe that he had 3. And he was considering selling one of his daughters into slavery so that he could use that money to pay a dowry to marry off another of the daughters so that she could get out of the circumstance that he unfortunately had sort of put them in. The story goes that St. Nicholas heard about this situation and really didn't want this widower to have to sell a daughter into slavery. So in the evening, one night, he went to the home of the widower and through the window put a gold coin into the stocking of the daughter that was to be married as part of her dowry. Now, the widower had been praying and praying for help and good fortune, and basically sort of desperately hoping that something would happen. So in the morning when he goes and he's collecting all the clothes that are by the fire, presumably, and finds this gold coin in the stocking, he sees this as like a sign from the heavens. He's been like pulled out of a bad situation. He doesn't have to sell one of his daughters into slavery, and the other daughter can be married and has a dowry, and she can, you know, leave for a better life. So ecstatic. Goes around town, he's very excited. The townspeople start talking, everybody is excited for him. Some people really believe that this is just a gift from the heavens, and others are more suspicious that it might have been St. Nicholas who blessed this family with good fortune. The story goes on to say that St. Nicholas does this for the other 2 daughters as well. So when they're of age to be married, he then places another gold coin in each of their stockings and really helps this widower out of this horrible situation, and the daughters as well. So of course, the townsfolk are now in the morning like checking their stockings to see if they too have been blessed with a gold coin. St. Nicholas died on December 6th in 350, is that what I have written? And it became St. Nicholas Day. A tradition began after this where children would hang their stockings out and small gifts would be placed into those stockings by parents or maybe family friends or whoever as a tribute to St. Nicholas and the kindness that he bestowed upon these communities while he was living. The St. Nicholas Day tradition goes on for a period of time, quite a long time. Then in 1823, Clement Clarke Moore writes a poem. And this poem draws on this story of the St. Nicholas legend. The poem is called A Visit from St. Nicholas. We now know this poem to be called The Night Before Christmas. The interesting thing about this poem is that the date is changed from early December, December 6th, to late December, December 24th, the night before Christmas. All of a sudden, everything sort of shifts and we move the St. Nicholas Day tradition to the night before Christmas, and Santa starts to put presents in the stockings for children all over the place. And for a very long time, the stockings were the place where the presents would be put. So all of your presents would fit into your stocking. They wouldn't be gathered in a giant pile underneath the tree. But kids became wise to this, and they realized that the generosity of Santa was limited to the size of their foot, and they started requesting a larger and larger stockings. So I do want to preface that the size of my stocking, when I pull it out for you guys to see, is not based on how much generosity I want to see at Christmas time. It's actually because I wanted to make sure that what I was printing worked, but it is quite large, so I just feel like it's important for me to explain that. Another thing that I thought was really interesting was that some people, and I think that this tradition still exists now, would place an orange inside the stockings just as a little token of remembrance to where the stocking narrative, tradition, whatever, actually originated. So that gold coin, the orange being a symbol of that. So that's the story of the Christmas stocking. I really enjoyed learning this story. There were so many things that I didn't know. If there was any parts of the story that were a surprise to you, let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope that you'll be back tomorrow for our last day of Craftmas. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Talk to you soon.